filling in as a guest host for Art, who is off today. And I'll start by saying I was just chatting here with my guest here this hour, Jimmy Greene with Saginaw Spirit. Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Jonathan Dent. We were having the quick conversation. Art is off, but I got to give that man credit. He picks some pretty crazy days to take off. If you remember, he was off all of election week. And, nothing to talk about that week, right, Jonathan? It was a pretty easy week. No, and today, Jimmy, anything going on today? Is there anything?
Absolutely nothing. Typical Monday.
Folks, it is a Monday. So we're going to talk about a lot of things because they're relevant. So first of all, of course, happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone out there. It is MLK Day today, a big day in the region and across the nation, a federal holiday. So for all of you heading out to various festivities, a great way to honor MLK Day.
Sure. Yeah.
It is also a day of democracy, and it is the inauguration of the 47th president, Donald J. Trump, today at noon in the Capitol Rotunda. That is going on. We were just talking about it as I'm taking sips out of my Notre Dame coffee mug. And folks, if you know me, I'm a Sparty, but that South End St. Stan's Catholic comes out. I'm kind of Notre Dame second. So when I was pulling out my mug, plus I knew how much Jimmy would love this, a Notre Dame mug.
I'm
today.
ambivalent.
We'll get into that a little bit, but it's also National Championship night.
It is.
And I know this is a Michigan station, but it's a Michigan's worst nightmare national championship of Ohio State and Notre Dame.
It is.
The only thing that can make it worse is if they let MSU play a quarter, but trust me, that ain't happening.
Yeah, ever.
Well, we'll see. It's the hope that kills you, Jim.
March Madness. That's all you guys can count on. Let's face it.
It's the hope that kills you. And then, guys, we have two more things, and we're going to talk about here. First, I'm going to be honest. I'm upset with Terry Henney this morning. When you walk outside and your face hurts just from being alive, there's a problem. And I have a beef with my son. He's off school today, an 18-year-old senior. And he asked over the weekend if you could take my vehicle. No problem, son. Not an issue. And when you remote start, but if the gas is too low, it actually doesn't remote start. So I'm like, remote start. I'll grab my coffee. I'll be out. Like, no problem. I went out and the car was not running. And I used a few adjectives to describe my feelings on that issue, but it was a cold.
You mean like golly wow?
Exactly.
Stuff like that?
Doggone it. Darn it. Exactly. All of those.
I can hear you saying that.
Yes. So, guys, seriously, make sure your pets are in. Make sure you're watching over them. The garage may be too cold. Make sure you're getting them inside. Find that spot. Take care of loved ones. If there's someone who lives alone, call and check in on them. Make sure that everything's functioning. Really cold the next few days. I think we're going to have some school closings here in the next couple of days just because of the cold. So take care of yourself. But I got to be honest. When I agreed to do this about a week and a half ago, when found out Art was taking the day off, I was like, that's cool. It'll be after the first Lions game. And, we'll be able to just touch briefly on the Lions to start the show. It was a good first game against an inferior opponent. And we're going to talk about what time the NFC Championship was, the first one ever hosted in the city of Detroit. We're going to talk about how Jared Goff is just steady and things are great. But no, a young man named Jaden Daniels had different plans for us here this morning. So we're going to start with the Detroit Lions because
that was kind of like people preparing for Kamala Harris's inauguration today, right?
Exactly.
Some things
don't go the way you want, right?
I hear you.
So Jimmy, he thinks I'm a bit of a whiner when it comes to Lions. So we're going to get into this. Jimmy, did you watch the game?
I watched it. Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
So I'm just going to start out big picture. What happened?
Washington was a better team. Here's my thing, and I love Detroit fans. Don't get me wrong. I like anybody who's just absolutely religiously, feverishly committed to their team. But then it blinds them to a certain degree. Now, let me say this, I'm a Raider. We sucked. See, there's no ifs, ands, and buts. There's no part B. We sucked. We had a terrible year. So no excuses. But what killed me about you guys was that everything you whined about, and I'm going to use the word whine, everything you whined about was exactly what you kept patting yourselves on the back about all season long. Man down, man up. Man down, man up. Nothing's going to stop this train. We won this game because Well, I know, but we lost all our defensive players. Doesn't matter. We won that game anyway. We're on the road. And then you lost, and it's like, well, we were decimated by injuries. Well, hold on a second. It's like that was your strength, and now it's your weakness. Now it's your excuse. You guys had a fabulous season. You got beat by a better team. Not one person on your team, on the defensive team, fumbled the ball or threw 3 interceptions.
4 interceptions.
Well, whatever. That's my point.
It was a lot of interceptions.
No, you guys picked the wrong day to have your worst game. It happens to teams in every sport. It was your turn that night, Saturday night. Move on. Really, move on.
There's no moving on. This has been 50 years of hell, Jimmy. 50 years.
You should be used to it.
Moment.
You should be used to it.
50 years.
Now, if Kansas City lost, now those people probably need a sympathy blanket. But you guys are used to it. The idea, you guys picked a bad time to have a bad game. And Washington, you hadn't played Washington either, which is
no. Jaden Daniels is a special talent, and being an MSU guy, folks don't know this. I swear to God, Jaden Daniels is 55 years old, because when Mark D'Antonio was a coach at Michigan State, like 3 coaches ago, Jaden Daniels was at Arizona State way back then.
Yeah, I remember.
Kid.
Yeah,
he's not like a 21-year-old rookie. He's a little bit more mature. He's 24 years old. He kind of had that COVID collegiate career, so he played longer. He killed me there. He threw to Brandon Ayuk at Spartan Stadium to beat us 13-10 or something on a 4th and 15. So this isn't the first time Jaden Daniels has hurt my soul.
So right. So he's not just a normal rookie. He's like an older rookie. I mean, there's a list. I think you guys are like checking it off on saying other than we picked the worst time to have our worst game and we lost.
There was a lot of bad. I'll just say this. Listen, for those of you guys that are mourning with me, which is most of you listening, number one, you can't turn the ball over 5 times in the playoffs. 5 turnovers, and they were horrible. A pick 6, 2 in the end zone. Jamison Williams had never attempted a throw in his collegiate or pro career, but apparently we needed Jamison Williams to throw the ball at that exact moment.
Did you see Baltimore yesterday? You watched the game?
Yeah.
They picked the worst time to have their worst turnovers. They had 11 turnovers all season long, had 3 yesterday, and a drop 2-point conversion. They lost.
I'm worried about Mark Andrews today.
And they had all their players. My point is, you said you didn't have the necessary players, but you had turnovers. They had all their players. They had turnovers.
Turnovers will kill you in this
Same
league.
Outcomes.
Yeah.
You lost.
And then I get baffled by the play calling. I was going back over it. Detroit's up 7-3. Jahmyr Gibbs is getting 11 yards a run. It's 3rd and 1 at their 17. We're about to go up 2 scores, empty backfield, 5 receivers. What are we doing, Ben Johnson? For as much accolades as this guy gets and as creative as he is, which he is, a brilliant coordinator, come on, man. You're about to go up 2 scores at home in the playoffs. The roof is about to come off Ford Field. Jahmyr Gibbs is just torching the Commanders defense. He's doing whatever he wants. We decide empty backfield. Goff throws the ball. Instead of going up 14-3, we're suddenly down 10-7 after that next drive.
But you don't think that Washington was anticipating the Jahmyr Gibbs? I mean, they had been decimated by him. I thought it was genius not to have that anticipation. See, I think it's a matter of perspectives, because he had been, and I think in that moment, if Jahmyr Gibbs was in, you don't think Washington's defense would have been completely cued to him?
1,000%. But
that's my point.
I think Sewell's that good.
Why play into?
I think that line's that good. If you can't get a yard in the NFL,
why play into that?
Yeah, I think they would have been just fine, because that whole game, once they had to go to throwing and they couldn't give the ball to Jahmyr like they could, it was different. The other part, and I was furious. The very first play of the game, my son was like, "What are you yelling for?" They come out, the Lions get the ball, start the game, and out trots David Montgomery.
Right?
What? Jahmyr Gibbs has been literally the best offensive weapon in the NFL for the last 2 months. Montgomery's been hurt. His knee's banged up. He's just coming back. Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't get the start at this point. I will say this. Number one, you were correct. We lost the game to a team that played better that day. That's 1. 2.
But you're kind of making my point, though. Because I agree with everything you just said, though, right?
Yeah.
None of what you said has anything to do with our defense was decimated. You just completely shifted that blame on the offense.
No, I'm going to go to that.
Okay, I'm just
following
your lead.
Turnovers, questionable coaching decisions
on the offense.
Okay. Third, And if you know ball, you know this. If you know ball, you know this. If you're just a casual fan that likes participation trophies, you don't know this. The Meek Robertson injury on the first or second defensive snap was catastrophic for that defense because they were already down a starting corner. It's a rookie who'd been playing the best cover. He was playing great. The moment he goes down, like I laughed. Then we had Melon Fowle go down in the second half. Number 40 came out. I'm not even lying. He was playing safety. He was signed to the squad December 28th. He didn't take a single snap during the regular season. We played the entire second half. I was joking. My son had his buddies over. I'm like, who is this guy? I just started naming out random Bay City Western players. I'm like, is he one of these guys? Like, who is this? You put all of it together, and it creates one giant, just craptastic sandwich that was the 45-31 loss. Well, just brutal.
You know, the thing that Detroit prided themselves on was outscoring everybody. They did. I mean, they almost beat Buffalo. Buffalo was the only team that outscored them. And look, what was the score? 45-41 or something like that. I mean, insane. Oh, yeah, it was crazy, right? So in this particular case, again, you're talking about the defensive side of that. They've always been able to overcome that by outscoring the other team, whether that's 28-21 or 45-40, whatever that is. In this particular case, your offense failed you. It failed you. Those turnovers you just talked about. It didn't matter who. It wouldn't have mattered if Robertson was still in the game. The point is, Washington was doing exactly what you were doing. They were matching you point for point. Detroit's whole strength all season long was being 1 point better than the other team. They kept showing that graphic all game. Look how much Detroit's outscored. They were lauding your offense fairly. Is my point. And then you talked about Montgomery and Gibbs and all these different weapons you had on offense. That's what failed you. It wasn't because you were decimated. Again, I feel bad for you guys because I thought, quite honestly, I picked Detroit to win the game.
This was
so it wasn't
the
like
year.
I was sour grapes. I get it. And I was happy for Detroit people. I mean, I live here, even though I'm a Raider. I've never rooted against Detroit in this particular case. So I don't think I have sour grapes or anything like that, but I could see it a little bit clearly, I think, than you guys seem to see it. And I get it. It's the day after or 2 days after, so it might take a while.
It's going to take a hot minute. Last question. We have 30 seconds. We got to go to break.
Okay.
Today you're waking up.
Yep.
Would you rather be, and this is just not where your heart is.
Yeah.
Would you rather be in the situation the Lions in or the Raiders are in right now?
Oh, I'd rather be in the situation with the Lions. No question about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I think you guys got an incredible team, and I think you'll have an incredible team next year, whether Glenn and Johnson leave or not. I think you guys got a nucleus to get better and be better.
Okay, folks. I got to put the Lions behind me, at least for today. So we're going to take a break. We're going to be back
that
here.
Probably won't happen, but
we'll say, at least for this hour. We'll be back with Jimmy Greene.
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. And it doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer Sugar. Whether it's with our granulated white, light brown, or soft confectioners, it's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pioneer Sugar, pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
Behind the scenes, Michigan's public health team is working to make our environment healthier. Testing the water of our lakes and rivers, ensuring they're safe for play. Educating anglers, monitoring ticks and mosquitoes for disease. Approving septic systems and new home water wells. Learn how public health workers protect us all at michigan.gov/public health. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
Hey you, I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber, more laxatives, more of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
It is Inauguration Day, which is on the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. The markets are closed for the Dr. King holiday. Costco workers represented by the Teamsters Union could be walking out at the end of the month. They've authorized a strike if they don't have a new contract by the time the current agreement expires on January 31st. The Teamsters Union represents more than 18,000 Costco workers. Two sides are expected to be negotiating this week. Mortgage rates recently inched up to the highest level in nearly 8 months, though more people are refinancing. Mortgage brokers interviewed by MarketWatch say they've seen an uptick in people who want to tap the equity to buy other real estate or to pay off credit card debt at a lower rate. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jimmy Coselda, invested in you.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Respond, recover, rebuild, hammer restoration. It's all about skill. You need a hammer when disaster strikes. Call Hammer Restoration and get it done right.
Right back for Michael Misa down the right side. Tries to throw it through Mangoni. Now Perek again. Takes a shot. He scores, and he's tied McNeil.
The Saginaw Spirit hit the road again this weekend for a trip around the OHL's Eastern Conference. It all starts with a visit to the Peterborough Peaks Thursday at 6:50. Then it's off to Kingston to face off against the Frontenacs on Friday at 6:45. Finally, the Spirit take on the Ottawa 67s at 1:45 Sunday afternoon. Tune into every game on 100.5 FM WSGW.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. It's Matt Felan with Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, and I'm joined here today by my good friend and adversary and occasional, no, I say adversary in a joking manner. Jimmy Greene is with me today, and frankly, folks, I got to be honest, when I got the request to come in today, and I was like, wow, it's MLK Day, and it's Inauguration Day, I'm like, who can I talk to that day that can really get into these? And it's Jimmy Greene, and we've been talking about doing this for a long time, and just haven't. So
we have, just not on the radio.
Not on the radio. So we thought we would have a little bit of a dialogue. But I want to talk about MLK Day because, that's, it's a federal holiday, very important to people across the country. You definitely have ties that go beyond when you look at MLK Day, when you look at yourself and your background and who you are. So you tell me, and we've had that discussion, right? You cannot speak for what it's like to be a Latino, right? You can have an idea, but you don't know because you're not.
Absolutely.
Same thing for me. I can't speak to be African-American or Black because I don't sit in those shoes.
Right.
What does MLK Day mean to you?
It's funny because I grew. I mean, emphasize the word grew to appreciate MLK Day. So when I was coming up in Flint, I wasn't an MLK fan. I was more Black Panthers, Malcolm X. He had sort of a peace overtone. Well, not even sort of. He did. He was turn the other cheek. Growing up in Flint, I was anything but that. I was poor, and we lived in the projects, and there was still a lot of animosity, and Malcolm X spoke to us that anger. He spoke to that anger, and
Sure.
he was a don't turn the other cheek kind of person, and the Black Panthers sort of embody that as well too. So Martin Luther King for us was kind of like, we're not doing that kind of thing. Turn the other cheek, no way. And so as a young person, I didn't appreciate him. As I got older, I understood that peace and the way he conducted himself was a way to get into rooms. And I don't know if I coined it myself or heard it somewhere, but I kept thinking about people who keep banging on doors and never get in. It sounds loud, and you sound like you're an agitator and you're an advocate, but you're not in the room where things happen. And that was kind of the Malcolm X and the Black Panther sort of thing. And then Martin Luther King, on the other hand, was in the room. And that's when I started to learn to appreciate him as I got older, and I started my business career. I started in banking. I found myself in rooms where people like me didn't exist, where I was the only one in there. And I thought that's really the power of presence, right? And you don't get that by yelling at people, shouting at people, and threatening people. You get that by, and it's not assimilation. It's just essentially finding a common language, a common theme, something that advances your own advocacy, even if you don't call it advocacy. And those people like Henry Marsh, who to me in Saginaw was the Martin Luther King,
Sure.
the person that was criticized for not picking up weapons and creating this kind of havoc and anger around Saginaw. Instead said, hey guys, keep your peace. Let's settle all this down. And he was called Uncle Tom and all those kind of phrases. But he to me looked like a real life Martin Luther King who I had never met. And so I'm in my 20s going into my 30s. And that's when I really got to appreciate how he advocated. And again, as I've gotten older, I've had a much richer appreciation for him, because I feel like people from my generation keep him alive. It's not just a holiday. I think when we walk in rooms where we get a chance, and you just said it, you can't walk in the shoes of a Black man, but I am a Black man. And so through that advocacy of being in rooms and talking about the kind of things that he witnessed or wanted, he died prematurely, unfortunately, through his assassination. But to watch so much of what he wanted come to fruition is pretty powerful.
So you said something that concerns me in terms of how his memory is known, because that generation, my dad and others, my dad died 10 years ago and he'd be about 77 now.
Right. Yeah.
That generation that lived when Dr. King was alive. Right?
Yeah.
That was part of their everyday. It's very similar to how I talk about kids today about 9/11. To them, that's Pearl Harbor to me, right? It was so long ago that they can't personally relate to it. Is there a concern that because he's been gone so long now, and the generations behind never knew? They didn't live through the 60s. They didn't live through the civil rights movement. They didn't live through, walking in Selma, the different things that occurred. What's the concern that it becomes just a federal holiday where you don't go to school and there's no mail and people are losing sight of what we should be doing today? And so I'll ask you that.
Wow.
What should today really be about? And how do you be careful that it just doesn't become Columbus Day or President's Day or just another day that we just kind of shrug and go, oh, we got today off. Let's go to lunch today.
It is. And I would say that's exactly what it is right now. I do. I think there's an older generation, like they're doing the march right, today. And but if you look at the demographics of those people doing that march, they are the 77, 60s, those kind of folks. I worry a little bit, because I think and first of all, you always have to suggest, are we where we thought we'd be? So when you go back and listen to a speech, the I Have a Dream speech, listen to it. I wouldn't even say listen to it. I wish people would read the words and then use it as a checklist. Just go down, use it as a checklist. Man, I'm telling you what, if Martin Luther King was alive today, he would be like, wow, my dream has come to fruition. Now, there are a lot of people who don't understand the dream who would suggest, oh, we got so much work to do. Well, no, you have so much work to do. His work was done. He got us to a place. We all say we stand on the shoulders of giants, right? Well, nobody's standing on his shoulders looking at beyond this. The things he fought for, we have achieved. I mean, is it a perfect world? No, never will be. But if you go down and look at the list and look at where we are in places of industry, business, sports, I don't care what industry, where you look at in America, you see us. You see the embodiment of his dream. You see competency. You don't see just color. You see people who are making massive moves. Look at the legislative branches. I could go down the list. He's achieved his dream, and it's so dishonest, and it's a dishonor to his memory to not use it as a checklist, to say, oh my God, can you imagine if you had a dream right now and 90% of what you suggested actually came to fruition? We should be lauding you. We're having a holiday because Martin Luther King achieved most of his dream, not because he failed at it. There are a lot of people we don't have a Malcolm X Day, not a national holiday. We're celebrating achievement, not just a name. And if people go back and look at the holiday and then go back and look at what it really represents and use it as a checklist, I think it's incumbent upon a new generation to say, okay, well, he made his dream come to fruition. What's ours? And then use that. I don't know who's going to have a national holiday who picked up his dream and advanced it. I don't know who that is, but that's incumbent upon this generation. I'm in rooms right now where people like me never were. I've been in a predominantly white world everywhere I've been, but that's been on the basis of merit, not my color, my skin, because I'm really good at what I do. That's a tribute to Martin Luther King. Now, what do my kids want? I don't know. That's a dream they have to come up with. And so I shudder to think that it's just a national holiday, because quite frankly, it is right now. We have to be honest about it.
Well, folks, for those of you who are listening, if you take one thing from this last segment, go and read that dream speech today. Read it and take into account what he said. Look at that checklist. If there's one thing you're thinking, what do I do today besides having the day off? Follow that advice, which is great advice. We're going to take another break. We'll be back here on the Art Lewis Show.
For over 80 years, MBS International Airport has been proud to serve the residents of the Great Lakes Bay region and surrounding areas. MBS International Airport is committed to continuously improving the travel needs of the region by offering competitive services that meet the needs of the community. At mbsairport.org, you are now able to find travel deals, packages, and even book your car and hotel all in one convenient place. MBS International Airport, save time and money when you fly from nearby.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
This week's exclusive offer on RocketGrabPlus.com is brought to you by Applied Training Solutions, located in the Midland Mall. We're giving you half off a one-day Michigan concealed pistol license class, originally $120, now available for just $60. This class is a requirement for a CPL in the state of Michigan. Don't miss out on this fantastic deal. Visit RocketGrabPlus.com to claim yours today.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on. Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
It's the Stormmaster Exterior Studios of WSGW. And WSGW is online with Stormmaster Exteriors.
Good morning and welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. It's Matt Felan at the Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, filling in as a guest host for Art. Once again, as Art has taken the day off on what is really a day of little consequence, not a lot going on other than it's cold. I mean, a huge day that Ira's taken off with so much going on today. So loved our discussion on MLK Day, but I'm going to kind of pivot now because here in a couple hours, and we can hear it in the studio and CBS breaks in to kind of give us the updates on what to expect. We have an inauguration.
We sure do.
And a transfer of power to the 47th, who was
Peaceful.
the 45th. Peaceful.
This time.
Transfer of power. It is a big day, but it's a big day for a lot of reasons. Number one, yes, there's going to be a formal ceremony in the Capitol Rotunda. And yes, there's that transfer of power that will take place. No question.
Yeah.
But as we were hearing this morning, there are going to be 200 executive orders signed today.
Yeah.
200.
It's crazy.
And they're going to deal with a lot of things, and we are going to jump into this. So first of all, I'm going to just go big picture, Jimmy.
Yep.
How did we get here? How did we get to the election of Donald Trump once again as President 47? What happened? You have some experience in this on this front. How did we get here again today? Whether good or bad, I'm not judging, folks.
No,
there are 50, apparently, if we're in Michigan, there's about 52% of you that are very happy today and 48% that are not. We're a divided state, divided country. There's no right or wrong. I believe in the windshield wiper effect. One side wins and it goes to the other. They win and it goes back and forth, right? So some of you are happy today. Some of you are upset. No judgment. How did we get here?
It's funny. This would have been an easier question to answer if we were talking about electoral college. But he won the popular vote. That changed the answer. And I don't know what the answer is. Because, if you're talking electoral college, we can always say, oh, well, here's the southern states. It's always easy to move those pieces on there. And even watching the election results come in, well, I knew Alabama would, I knew it. But then all of a sudden you started seeing these numbers come in from places that didn't, affected the electoral college, mind you, but to the red side and not the blue side. They became less purple and more red. And you're thinking, I don't think people changed their politics per se, even though they may have voted that way. I think what people did was change their interests. And I think that's a dynamic that at some point, as parties, both parties are going to have to address, that people are no longer following partisan lines. They're following issues. So as much as people would like to think that we've become a dumber population, I disagree. I think we've become smarter. And I think there are people who separated, I'm a Democrat, or I'm black, or I'm gay, or I'm a Latino, or I'm independent. And they started looking at issues like inflation, immigration. When you looked at the votes for black people, Latinos, some women, when you started looking at demographics shift over to the red, I don't think they became Republican. I really don't. I don't think that's even going to pan out. I think what's ultimately going to happen is you're going to see people following issues. Those bread table issues, they really matter. I think the redundancy of an issue already settled by Democrats on abortion, I think that hurt. I think it numbed a lot of people. We've been there, done that. They thought it was a settled deal, so it took it off the table for them. And then it was going to Kroger, going to Meijer, going to Target. those issues. And I really do believe that they just wanted change. I also think we're such a country. We are so myopic. We don't hold on to anything. And I think Trump, from 4 years, he had the benefit of having a 4-year window. And people forget here why who's playing the Super Bowl, what's coming on TV in January. I mean, we are so it's crazy. And I think this country, one of our great strengths, we forgive people like in a heartbeat. We give people first, second, third, fourth chances.
But remember, for whatever reason, we like to tear people down. This country's phenomenal.
No question.
We love to see that most successful person on the top of the mountain. We want to yank them down.
Agree.
But then we want to push them back up.
Agree. Let me say
crazy.
this, though. You only can beat people up so much. And then you know what happens? We make them sympathetic. We do. We make them sympathetic. Like you can call somebody a liar, call somebody, Donald Trump's been called a lot of things fairly. But then when you keep saying it over and over and over, you make him sympathetic. Now it looks like you're out to get him. Now it looks like a conspiracy.
The sympathy thing becomes easy, Jimmy. You try to shoot someone in the head on live TV.
Yeah.
America's got a lot of sympathy for that. Yeah. Like you become a sympathetic figure in a hurry.
I'm
when
telling
something
you,
like that
I
happens.
think people became numb to the stuff that they had already hated him for or opposed him about 8 years ago. And even 4 years into his presidency, I think it was just numb. And he came out of this almost like another version of him, even though, quite frankly, he was exactly the same version of him. There are people who are probably going to theorize this until we're blue in the face, until you and I are long gone, like they do with Lincoln and all the other great presidents we've had. But I think it's a people thing. And I really do. I think people have become so tuned, so self-absorbed that they're not big picture people anymore. They're what affects me people now. We don't do the big stuff anymore. It's about me. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we have become a lot more self-involved, self-indulgent. And I think you see that play out in this election. I really did. That's just my opinion.
We have to do another break, but I want you to think about this during our commercial.
Sure.
Because this is where, when I think about Trump, I think about him differently. I swear he is a cause, and it's more about him a lot of times. And here's why. And this is what I want you to think about. Mm-hmm. If it were so overwhelming, then why is the state flip-flopping just not a little bit? But we go through a governor's race, and Whitmer keeps winning these by 10 plus points. Mm-hmm. But then we turn around and it goes the other way. It's that windshield wiper effect. Let's talk about that when we get back from commercial.
Sounds good.
For 100 years, Forward Energy has been more than just a home heat and fuel provider. We've been a part of your community, and you've been a part of our family through every storm, every season, and every moment. We've been right here, keeping you warm and safe. As your hometown energy provider, we deliver more than just propane. We deliver peace of mind with reliable service, quality you can count on, and a commitment to always being there when you need us most. Forward Energy, 100 years strong, fueled by family, powered by community.
Art Lewis here at Quick Lane Freeland, next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford. Quick Lane Freeland is a one-stop shop for all your oil changes, brakes, tires, batteries, and they work on Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, Hondas, Jeep, Dodges, all makes and models to keep your car or truck in good shape. And by the way, speaking of tires, they are selling new tires for just $5 over cost. You can't do any better than that. Brand names like Michelin, Goodyear, and BF Goodrich, plus an additional $60 to $100 in rebates. Extra for installation includes balancing and lifetime tire repairs. Enjoy our customer lounge with internet and free ice cream bars at Quick Lane Freeland next to McDonald Ford, where again they work on all makes and models of cars and trucks. They want to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape at Quick Lane Freeland next to McDonald Ford.
Welcome to retirement. Now, replace your paycheck. To local financial coach Kevin Ray, this is what retirement planning is all about.
Building monthly paychecks. And how you build those monthly paychecks is going to determine how well in retirement you're going to enjoy it. So sit down and build a good framework, and it starts with income.
So build your framework with Kevin and the team at Insight Folios today by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down. get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Good morning and welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center. Visit them at 5789 State Street in Saginaw or online at westsidedecoratingcenter.com. So it's Matt Felan here from the Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, and I'm joined by Jimmy Greene, and we're talking about a lot of current events because today is a huge day.
It is, yeah.
And we're talking about the Trump inauguration. So before the break, I kind of got into a question. I'm going to come back to you with a thought, and I want your opinion, okay? So I believe that Trump himself goes beyond the issues, and I believe he's a symbolism of a movement. And for me, the movement is an anti-establishment movement.
Yeah.
A not part of the DC crowd sitting in the Senate for 30 years, a businessman. You talked earlier how you were really, when you were younger, you were more on the Malcolm X track because you appreciated the yelling and the screaming, right?
Yep.
And you were like, and as you've gotten older, you understand that doesn't always win, but it does sometimes. And so for me, when I look at Trump and why he's here, I think there's a lot of people that aren't really political. They hate politics. They hate politicians. And because of that, they view Trump as really the symbol of everything that they hate. And they love that he puts a big middle finger up, that he'll tell you what he thinks, that he hasn't sat in DC for years. And to me, he attracts people that you wouldn't otherwise get out in an election. And therefore, in those midterms, we see the Democrats winning. Even when Trump is winning, we see Whitmer then winning by 10. Now, are there a lot of factors? Are Republicans running their strongest candidates? I would say no. Are there things that happen? Yeah, but it swings so violently, even in a 2-year time frame. Bay County, where I'm from, I've laughed at. Bay County swinging 20%. It can go plus 10D in a gubernatorial race.
I've seen that.
To plus 10R in a presidential race. And I truly believe it's much more about people that just hate politics and politicians and DC and taxes. And you know what? They want to put it to the man. So they're behind Trump and they're going to fly their flag and put 30 yard signs up in the yard. And they're going to wear the hat. They're going to wear the t-shirt because they want you to know they don't want status quo government. So I believe he brings out something that you wouldn't ordinarily see in a presidential election, but it swings. So here's my question to you. Why is it swinging? Why is, just as an example, why?
But it goes back to what you just
swinging?
said, though. It goes back to what you just said. And what I said, self-absorbed. I think I couldn't argue with anything you just said, but that you said bring people out. Those are people who are self-absorbed. It's all about me and my interests, whether that's economic, whether that's patriotic, whatever that is. I think you're absolutely right. I couldn't argue with anything you just said. I do think there's a middle finger stuck up. No question about it. I used to be in that world too, but I've been around. I got to tell you, with Trump, it was all issue driven for me. I've been around builders and contractors, for almost 20 years. So his rhetoric and his bravado and all that kind of stuff, I'm numb to it. I tune it out and listen to what he's saying in terms of issues or policies. And so I could disagree or agree, but all the bluster stuff, that never fazed me one bit.
So it's interesting for me, and for those of you listening, you may not know my full background, but there was a time I worked for Tim Kaine in Virginia when he was governor. And I was a staffer. I led his fundraising. So I was at all of his events, and you're pretty much at 2 fundraisers a night, I swear, for like 18 months straight. So my point is, I had to hear every speech over and over and over. And how often can you just sit there like this and look at the candidate and hear what they have to say? So I started this habit, and I still do it now. A lot of times when someone speaks, I don't watch the candidate. I watch how the room reacts. I watch the faces. Are people glazed over? And I've gotten to the point in politics that a lot of times I'm not looking to see what the person's saying because they're going to get up and give their bravado and their bluster and get the big applause. I want to see what's resonating. And I'll go back to this.
People don't glaze over Trump.
For right or wrong, there's a segment that's resonating, that he is connecting. His words, his anger, his vitriol, his passion is connecting with that crowd. And
is it sustainable?
I'm asking you. I'm new in town. I'm just learning this.
He's 4 years into this thing, right? So his vice president, JD, he's not that. He's anything but that. So my question is it just going to die out then when the bluster is gone, when the big guy is gone, when the apprentice guy is gone? I think that's the question. I mean, well, I don't know if there's an answer to that because everything you said is correct. But I wonder, where do we go next? Because he's in now. We got 4 years of this, whatever it is.
But that is a great question. Where you're going is exactly where my head is. What happens when he's done with his 4 years?
Yeah.
Is this about republicanism?
Well, you said movement.
About Trump.
You said movement. That's the only reason I brought that up.
Was this about Trump movement? Here's what we're going to do, folks. I've convinced Jimmy this conversation's too good. He's going to come back at the start of the next hour. But we're going to wrap up here this hour and go to commercial. But I've headlocked him, and he's going to come back because this conversation's too good. So we'll be back after these messages.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more of the good life to your life, so you can bring home more perfectly plump and flavorful produce picked for precise freshness, beautifully marbled beyond brag-worthy certified Angus beef, and more must-have money-saving M-Perks rewards. Because saving more on local favorites is good, but bringing home more of what you love in every trip, that's the good life. We do more to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
Hi, welcome to our grand reopening.
What's so grand? Looks like the same bar, same food, same drinks.
But not the same Club Keno.
Welcome to the newly redesigned Club Keno from the Michigan Lottery. Now with the new +3, giving you more chances to match and win.
I like.
There's a new and improved kicker with more chances to multiply your winnings.
Impressive.
And even bigger jackpots with the Jack.
Wow, I just love what you've done with the place.
Try the new Club Keno, only from the Michigan Lottery. Knowing your limits is always the best bet.
Save big money on your bathroom upgrade now at Menards. Transform your bathroom with our great selection of Lion showers, bathtubs, and surrounds that match your style and budget. Lions knows how important design and function are. Their acrylic products offer strength and beauty that you can rely on for years to come. Check out our entire selection of Lions bathroom products today on Menards.com. Plus, view the weekly flyer for other great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Chicago.
Make me smile.
Decades of hits.
For the inspiration.
Wednesday, June 25th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Chicago. Tickets start at $63 and are on sale now at the box offices or etix.com. Chicago returns to Soaring Eagle Casino.
25 or 624.
Rock, horns, and hits. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
The Ramsey Show. The problem is the stupid banks will loan you so much money that they put you in bankruptcy because they don't have an off button. They'll just loan you money. You know, you can go get a credit card, you can go on a trip you can't afford, you can go down there and get a car. You know, there's actually people out there walking around that still think that if the bank will loan it to you, it means you can pay it. The same people that think if you have checks left in your checkbook, there must be money in the account.
The Ramsey Show, weeknights at 9 on WSGW.
That's all for this hour of the Art Lewis Show, presented by Westside Decorating Center. I want to thank my friend Jimmy Greene for joining me here in the first hour, but more importantly, want to thank him for joining me for a little bit of the next hour. We will be back, but before that, the news.
Broadcasting from the Stormmaster Exterior Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Stacey Lynn at the U.S. Capitol.
President-elect Donald Trump's Inauguration Day has officially begun. The Trumps attended a service at St. John's Church. Trump wearing a dark suit and overcoat, Melania in a dark suit as well, and wide-brimmed hat. Now it's time for tea at the White House with the Bidens. Then it's off to the Capitol Rotunda for the swearing-in ceremony. People from all over the country came to the nation's capital to witness this piece of history. This woman brought her 2 kids from Muncie, Indiana.
This is a once-a-lifetime experience. They're never going to see this again. We have come here to experience it in person and be part of this crowd and the excitement.
The world is watching as well, as we hear from CBS's Cammie McCormick.
In Paris,
Ce que j'attends, c'est surtout la réaction européenne.
This man said he would wait to see how Europe reacts to the Trump presidency. In China, many expressed concerns about a trade war. And in Mexico, along the border, migrant groups held signs reading, "We are not the enemy of the United States."
I'm Stacey Lynn at the Capitol. Now with more, here's Deborah Rodriguez.
Mr. Trump is expected to issue a series of executive orders right after he takes office aimed at remaking immigration. CBS News has just learned he plans to declare a national emergency at the southern border and order U.S. military troops to patrol. We've also learned he wants to restart construction of a border wall and designate several drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. President Biden has used his last few hours in office to protect former public officials and some lawmakers under threat of prosecution by the Trump administration. Former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson.
The president has pardoned Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired General Mark Milley, and members of the committee that investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The pardons follow a promise by incoming President Donald Trump to go after those he considers political enemies.
They're just getting reaction from Mr. Trump's incoming Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications. He says the Biden pardons will go down as the greatest attack on America's justice system in history. A bitter blast of cold has pushed the inauguration indoors for the first time in 40 years. Washington, D.C. is not the only place they're bundling up. Record cold is expected through Thursday across the country. Robert Lott manages a shelter in Jackson, Mississippi.
We'll be operational until the end of the cold weather. We're having a daytime for them to come in during the day to stay warm, and then we'll have them coming in at night to stay at night.
Parts of the Northeast got more than a half a foot of snow last night. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at progressive.com.
If you could buy a used car or truck with complete confidence, a used vehicle that's completely quality checked and road ready, think you'd be interested? You need to check out the great selection Wilson Ford Lincoln has to offer. Jim Wilson, how do you sell so many used vehicles?
For starters, we have cars, trucks, and utilities in every price and payment range, from basic transportation to late model luxury. Plus, we know price sells vehicles, and offering these vehicles are what some say are below wholesale value.
There's something for everyone here. Luxury cars like Lincoln and Mercedes, third row utilities like Explorer and Tahoe, lots of great cars, and payments as low as, can we say, $110 per month?
Even lower.
You have cars for as little as $99 per month?
We have something in every price and payment range. Plus, with Ford Motor Credit financing, it's never a problem.
They may save you a few thousand. They may only save you a few hundred, but you will pay less for fine used vehicles at Wilson Ford Lincoln, your savings store.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair. Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? It seems impossible to find them. Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Live
From the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Sunny skies and 2 degrees with a negative 15 wind chill at 10:05. Good morning, I'm Mike Percha. The Genesee Human Oppression Strike Team, or GHOST, arrested 4 people in a sting operation last week. Genesee County Sheriff Chris Swanson made the announcement of the arrests last Friday, saying detectives were posing as minors online and talking with suspects who wanted to meet up with them, believing that they were children. The suspects included a man from Utica, one from Lapeer, and 2 men from Honduras. Swanson encourages parents to talk to their kids about the safe use of the internet, saying if it had not been police on the other end of those conversations, there could be real victims. A commissioner on the Tuscola County Board of Commissioners passed away last week. Thomas Young was 74 when he died January 12th. He served on the board representing District 1 for 9 years, having first been elected in 2016. Young was born in Pontiac, July 9th, 1950, where he grew up and attended high school. He eventually moved to the Thumb area, where his obituary states he established roots in Tuscola County, where he cultivated a career, family, and friendships that spanned decades. Young worked for the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for 18 years and the Thumb Area Michigan Works for 12. He is survived by his children, grandchildren, siblings, and other family members. Foster Families Navigation and Resource Center in Bay City is hosting its 4th annual Women's Night fundraiser on January 30th. The evening features women-owned business vendors, complimentary drinks, and specialty snacks and chances to win raffle prizes valued at more than $1,000. The event will be held from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the Back Orchard Barn in Freeland. Tickets are $5 per person. Attendees are encouraged to bring new packages of socks and underwear of any size for foster youth throughout the region. For information on how to register, visit fosterfamiliesrnc.org. WSGW News Time, 10:07.
Steve, where is my car?
I dropped it off at paintball.
What now, Steve?
Well, do you remember when my mother was here yesterday?
Yes.
Well, she backed into our car.
Again? That's twice this year.
Don't worry, honey. Paintball is fixing the dent and also doing a full detail, rust proofing and graphene coating.
Great, but I'm sending your mother the bill.
What?
Gotta go.
Keep your vehicle looking great at Paintball on Bay Road in Saginaw. We're more than a body shop. Visit paintballrepair.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com. Why pay full price when you can enjoy amazing deals instead? Right now, you can score epic deals like half off a gift certificate to Cazadores Mexican Grill and Cantina for only $10. Or for just $5, get a blueberry or strawberry lemonade at Detroit Lemon Squeeze. And get $50 toward any service at Need a Change Massage and Facial Spa, yours for just $25. But hurry, these deals won't last forever. Visit RocketGrabPlus.com to see all our deals today. RocketGrabPlus.com.
WSGW News Time, 10:08. The weather forecast is coming up. A 3-year-old was shot in Grand Rapids over the weekend. Police say their preliminary investigation indicates it was an accidental self-inflicted injury. The child was taken to a local hospital for serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police say they know who the owner of the firearm is, and a safe storage investigation is underway. It was a pretty wily move to avoid the hustle and bustle of busy city life. Here's Michigan News Network Kyle Kimball with the report.
A coyote was extricated from the cold food section of an Aldi supermarket in Chicago. In all likelihood, the animal slipped into the store through an open door and then slid behind the cheeses and deli meats to avoid shoppers, ultimately ending up in the refrigerated foods section. After undergoing a checkup at the Flint Creek Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, the coyote was returned to the wild. Kyle Kimball, the Michigan News Network.
We're seeing some of the coldest temperatures of the year so far, with temps in the single digits and teens over the next couple of days throughout the state. AAA is issuing a statewide Arctic air advisory. Wind chills are going to be below zero. During single-digit cold snaps, calls for dead batteries and other service-related needs across Michigan are expected to jump. AAA says for your vehicle, make sure your battery's charged, keep your gas tank at least half full to avoid gas line freeze-up, and use a windshield washer that won't freeze. They also advise traveling with a cell phone and car charger. If you get stranded, stay with the vehicle and run the engine long enough to keep warm if possible. Many communities have warming centers, including those here in the Great Lakes Bay region. WSGW News Time, 10:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. A cold weather advisory is in effect here for the forecast area. Partial sunshine develops here for today with a high in the upper single digits. Winds out of the west around 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 25. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy with a low near -2. By Tuesday, partial sunshine, high around 7 above. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, we'll see high around 17. Thursday, cloudy skies, a high around 24. Then by Friday, partial sunshine, high of 24. Saturday, mostly cloudy, high around 31 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with the WSGW Weatherology Forecast. Currently, it's 6 above.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions. From around your block to around the world, The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com. The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. It's Matt Kwan of the Great Lakes Bay Region Alliance filling in for Art here today. And I'm joined by Jimmy Greene here, who's going to stay with me one last segment here in the second hour. And then, folks, we're going to open up the phone lines. It's MLK Day. It's Inauguration Day. It's the day after the Lions. Whatever you want to discuss, we have no shortage of information. Notre Dame fans, don't hold back. We can kind of open it up to everything. But in that last hour, we kind of chatted about a few things. But the last segments, we were talking about why Donald Trump won.
Yeah.
Just much like the Lions, we talked about why they lost. I want to do the same thing here. Why did Democrats lose? And I'm gonna kind of throw it out on two fronts, and I'd love your opinion. Okay.
Sure.
Oftentimes when it comes to politics, I don't really have a lot to say about Republicans because I know who they are, what they're up to. I understand it. I get it. Democrats, on the other hand, always confuse me. And I'm gonna raise two issues of at least why I think they lost.
Okay.
And I would love your opinion because we were talking about what's next. And I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, the what's next for Democrats is a lot of losing if they don't do two things. And I really want your opinion on it. So number one, somewhere along the way, Democrats have different constituencies that they love to communicate to, talk to. They hire staff that works with that group. There's the African-American community liaison and the Latino community and the LGBTQ. And they go through all these groups and women for blah, blah, blah. At some point, Democrats decided that they were no longer going to ask white men to vote for them. They were no longer going to talk to white men. They were no longer going to talk about their issues. They were like, white men felt, in my opinion, ostracized from the Democratic Party because they were almost made to be the enemy of the Democratic Party. So some of my good friends that work in politics go, Matt, what would be your advice? And I'd go, I don't know. Maybe talk to white men, communicate to white men, talk about their issues. It's okay. I said, trust me, I live in the Great Lakes Bay region. There's a lot of white men there.
Yeah, there are.
And I said to them, I go, you're missing something. Like, so that's one. But I'm going to couple it with two, and it ties in, but it goes further. And you started to see the numbers erode this year. Democrats at one point, for right or wrong, whether you agree with this or not, were the party of the working people. They were your union workers, 9 to 5. They were working class people. They were middle class, lower middle class people. Trump has become their person. Trump talks to the issues they care about. Trump resonates with them. Democrats lost working class voters. And I know this for a fact because I've gone through the numbers. They've started to lose working class voters in the middle class, in the African-American population, and the Latino population, the Asian population. This isn't just a white issue. This was, if you're a working class voter, those numbers have eroded. And I hear it from the unions all the time. They're like, hey, well, we want to see X win, but wow, our members sure don't. So I have a question for you as we talk about why Democrats lost. Do you agree with my sentiment, or I would just love your opinion? Why are Democrats losing? I would tell you those are the two biggest reasons why.
Well, that's a lot. First of all, I don't disagree with anything you said, but I can speak from this perspective, from somebody who spent my adult life as a Republican, who felt ostracized at the beginning of 15 when there was a rise in MAGA, right? So I always took pride in defending Reagan, always took pride in defending the Bushes, Romneys, McCains. I mean, interesting enough, when you're working with Romney and McCain in Michigan, and you're working against potentially the first black president, or the reelection of the black president, that goes back to that Martin Luther King thing we were talking about.
Sure.
That I was purely supporting these people because they resonated with me, and not supporting Barack Obama, who I have the utmost love and respect for, just because he was black. It was a political thing for me. Now, fast forward. One of the things that I think Democrats have made a terrible mistake about, and you did see this blow up, was believing, again, it goes back to Martin Luther King, that all black people are the same, equal in terms of maybe race, but not in terms of economics, not in terms of aspirations and jobs and you name it. Black people are no longer monolithic, not at all. And I suspect the same thing is true in the Latino community. There are people who have achieved different results, different economic successes, different family structures, so their lives have changed, which means their politics in many respects have changed. I don't think Democrats addressed that. I think they just treated them like they were. And it's not just my opinion, because you said you did the research. You could see that black men in particular, much like white men, rebelled against the notion that they were somehow obligated to vote for Democrats, even though they didn't express or reflect their interests. I don't think Democrats took all of their interests and figured out a way, and this is going to be a dirty word for Democrats, just like it's a dirty word for Republicans. They never take the opportunity to moderate the issues. Never do. It's all in or all out. You're either for us or you're against us. And the world isn't shaped that way anymore. It just isn't. And I think, to your point, that when you talk about white men in particular, I work around white men. I those issues that you're talking about, especially the working man, when I worked at ABC, those folks traditionally didn't care about issues like abortion. They not that they didn't care about them, but they weren't the most pressing issue. And when I looked at where Democrats were running their platforms, I'm like, boy, they are missing a mark here big time. And I said that earlier in our 9 o'clock broadcast. The abortion issue was settled in most people's minds, except for Democrats. They kept continuously thundering that. And people are like, oh, my God, I don't want an abortion. I'm past an abortion. I never had an abortion. So people just started to take that out. And then all the other issues, which, oh, by the way, Democrats would kind of mention, those things, I tell you, bit you in the butt. Now, I don't know how Democrats get back to a place where they start talking to masses instead of little close sections. And even then, you could only promise so many things before you overpromise and underdeliver. And I think, to your point about having all these demographics in the party, I think that bit you in the butt too.
So I'll give you an opinion on this. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I do think people care about abortion still, because I thought Democrats thought it was settled, and then the court overturned Roe v. Wade, and now it's back. So stick with me on this. Okay.
Yeah.
Those issues don't matter when eggs are $4.99 a dozen. When eggs are 89 cents a dozen, or $1.49 a dozen, you can talk about a social issue like that, because you're not being impacted where you go to the store and you're literally picking and choosing what can you eat, what can you not eat, where, again, working class, everyday issues, all that social stuff is thrown out the window because it gets, and I'm going to use the word Trump, so it's not a Freudian slip, it is trumped when going to the grocery store is that expensive.
But
when
did you see the number of women that
expensive.
voted? You see the number of women that voted for Trump? What I meant by that was the Supreme Court, you just said that the Dobbs decision came down. It was settled in most minds. So they had moved beyond that. So even though Democrats kept saying it might come back, it might come back, it might come back, for a lot of households, it was settled. In many households, it's a settled issue anyway. Like they're either not, you know what I mean? And
I agree.
I mean, that's all I kept seeing time and time again, or transgender issues, those kind of things, which is what 0.1 of the population, those kind of things, which, by the way, Trump certainly capitalized on. It was just those kind of issues that people have moved beyond. I still don't think they're the overriding issues that people talk about at their dinner tables. I don't think Democrats did that. I think they did a terrible job running campaigns. I think they had great candidates in some respects, but that leads me to
I will say
I still lay all this on Joe Biden, though. I do.
I think the message is wrong. I think people are pretty simple. Give them affordability. Give them options for childcare. Give their kids great education. Give people retirement. I think people are exhausted by social issues, and I will say this:
they are.
And partially, this is COVID. And I see some things that concern me, but people generally don't like being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Democrats have this really bad habit of just telling you what you got to do. Not saying, hey, here's an option. Not saying, hey, here's something that we found. I think Democrats say, you must do this. And I just don't think the electorate, for whatever the issue is in today's society,
And it's kind of
people like
condescending.
being told what to do, correct?
It's kind of condescending.
It can be,
You know,
correct?
It really can be. But I mean, I go back to what I said. I was a Republican who moved to independent, and they never won me over. So, you know, you're talking about if you look at the movement in this country, and I think, you know, Mayor Dugan is certainly going to, I think, capitalize on that. To what extent, I don't know. But I think he found that middle ground where he goes, I just can't do that. And God, I can't do that either. And so sometimes you have to rest on who you are, not who the parties tell you you are. And that's part of the problem with Democrats and Republicans. They're telling people who they are. And I think you're going to see a mass movement to the middle where people say, I'm not either one of those. And I think Mayor Duggan is going to. He's going to be the embodiment of it. I really do.
Fascinating.
Because we've never had anybody with a record and money to be able to capitalize on, hey, look, I'm not them. I'm not them. This is who I am. And you're going to find a whole lot of people saying, oh, my God, that's who I am, too. Watch and see.
No, it's going to be
26.
It is going to be absolutely fascinating.
No question in my mind.
What I do get nervous about, Jimmy, though, is there's a balance to this, right? I will see people that post and they'll be like, I will never trust anything that a federal official tells me about public health ever again. And listen, I get the frustration of COVID because a lot of us didn't know what the heck was going on.
Mhm.
I was on a school board. I'm like, what are we supposed to do? I don't know what's
Right.
real and what's not. Does this mask help? Does social distancing help? I don't know. I'm not an expert, right? It was a very frustrating time, and some things have found to be not as accurate as I first heard. So there's this
Right.
frustration.
Yep.
But at the same point, I hear the people say, I will never trust public health again. And I go, dear Lord, when you have grandkids, please tell your kids to get the polio vaccine.
But you know who those people are, though, Matt?
You still have to listen to public health.
Yeah, but
Like,
you know who
it's-
those people are? The people that are alive.
It is.
Let that just sit for a minute. The people who complain they'll never trust public health officials again are the people who are alive, not the ones that died. And I think President Trump, and here's a bipartisan message, President Trump and Governor Whitmer both got way more blame for COVID and their responses to it than they richly deserved. And it goes back to what you said, because nobody knew. People were trial and error. I mean, we have hundreds of thousands of people dropping at the drop of a dime, and everybody's trying to figure this out, and we're pointing fingers. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on.
These things take time. They found AIDS in 1981. They didn't know that HIV caused it until 1983.
That's my
like,
point.
These things, you just don't snap a finger and have it down. These things take a lot
But
of
like
time.
Americans, we always got to point fingers. Somebody's to blame for it. But that's where we are.
You know what you do when you blame someone? You win a lot of elections when you
Yeah,
blame people.
that's exactly
So
right.
listen, folks, we're going to go and we're going to take a break. Jimmy's got to go. He's got to get an eye appointment. We want him to
I
say
do.
thanks for coming in today. I know it's a lot of heavy issues to take on. This was long overdue. Let's do it
I
again. I think it's
appreciate
a
it.
great
Thanks, Matt.
conversation. We're on our way to syndication. I'm sure everyone's ready to pick the Jimmy and Matt show up. This is great. Appreciate it. Enjoy your MLK Day.
Well, make
and,
it
thanks for
clear
coming in.
that we're friends, and this is how friends talk about things, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, we don't agree on everything, like the Lions
but that's
and the
how we
Raiders.
talk about
but
things.
you can have good discussion with people you disagree.
You got
with.
it.
Yeah.
Love
Thanks,
you, friend.
Jimmy.
All
Yeah.
right.
Take care.
Thanks.
Are you interested in building a legacy? The Legacy Center for Community Success in Midland is looking for tutors for their literacy programs. Start the new year with a new adventure. Giving back to the community impacts your life and the lives of our children and the future of our community.
I feel more confident about reading and writing, and my teachers have also seen improvement. So I think it's helped a lot.
I can read fluently, I can write fluently. My grades are a lot better. School's a lot easier.
Visit TLC4CS.org to learn more.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Sherry, what have you done to your hair? What do you mean? Does it not look good? It doesn't look good. It looks freaking amazing. I can't believe how thick and healthy it looks. Oh, I must know your secret. No secret. It's hair volume from New Nordic. Hair volume, huh? Well, it certainly lives up to its name. Your hair has never looked so thick. It is gorgeous. I was so tired of having thin and brittle hair. Ugh, and the shedding. So I figured I'd give hair volume a try. Needless to say, I'm thrilled with the results. Hey, where are you going? I'm going to pick up some hair volume right now. My reunion's next month, and I want my hair to look as good as yours.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or your local CVS. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Help your hair look full, voluminous, and beautiful again at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The markets are closed today for the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. On this Inauguration Day, global stocks are mostly showing gains. U.S. Postal Service and banks are closed today, along with stock markets. However, most restaurants, grocery stores, and retail stores will remain open. Bitcoin's price is holding over $107,000. It rose to a record at $108,000 after President-elect Trump launched his own crypto meme coin. His wife Melania also launched her own coin. Analysts see the launch as another positive sign for the digital asset market. Costco workers, represented by the Teamsters, have voted to authorize a strike if they don't have a new contract by January 31st, when their current agreement expires. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jean Fuselva, invested in you.
Something amazing is happening here. AI is increasing workloads on CPUs and GPUs. But this company's laptops are more than keeping pace. That's because CDW worked with them to future-proof their laptop fleet by configuring them with devices enabled with AMD Ryzen AI. Improve performance and free up resources with AMD Ryzen and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/AMD client.
What's the most important part of a retirement plan?
Income is king because we all need income. And if you don't have an income plan, you don't have a retirement plan.
That's Kevin Ray, financial coach at Insight Folios. Kevin tells his listeners every week about the importance of income planning, minimizing taxes, and strategies to lead a worry-free retirement. Learn all about that and get your own complimentary financial review by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
The WSGW Morning Team.
The WSGW online poll for you. Is it a landline, a cell phone, or both? Recently, AT&T announced it's going to eliminate landline phone service by 2029 in 20 of the 21 states the company still operates. That includes Michigan, the one exception being California. AT&T says its copper wire network is too old, it's increasingly unreliable, would cost too much to replace, and still would not be as effective as wireless broadband networks. Critics say landlines are crucial for people who live in rural areas, particularly older people who are more likely to rely on landlines. Overall, nationwide, roughly 76% of adults live in wireless-only homes. The WSGW online poll question for you is, what's your home phone status? Are you landline only? Are you cell phone only? Or are you both landline and cell phone? Vote your phone status by heading to WSGW.com, scrolling down the homepage and finding the online poll box.
Your Morning Team, 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
Good morning and welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. It's Matt Felan at the Great Lakes Bay Region Alliance filling in for Art today. Folks, we're going to open up the phone lines now. The phone number here is 989-752-6111. Again, 989-752-6111. We welcome your calls on the variety of topics that are at hand. A little bit of sports for those of us that are in mourning from the Lions loss. We can chat about that. It is MLK Day. If there's anything you want to talk about and what the day means to you and today's federal holiday, it's also Inauguration Day. And what does the transition and the peaceful transition of power mean to you today as Donald J. Trump becomes president once again, 45 and 47? And as part of that, folks, we here at WSGW are going to have a little bit of a programming update for you. Starting at 11, inauguration coverage will take place here on 790 AM. Our focus program that is on every day at 11 is going to go over to 100.5. So for those of you that are looking to hear focus, and we're going to be joined by Brass Prism Boutique in Saginaw. We will have that coverage at 11 o'clock on 100.5. That show starts at about 11:10. And again, inauguration coverage will be continuing here on 790 AM. I do believe, Jonathan, the actual ceremony takes place around noon in the Capitol Rotunda. Is that correct from what you know?
I don't know anything.
Jonathan, a man of the news like you, I thought you'd have that detail down pat.
Nope, I don't. I thought it started at 11-ish, but I guess noon once you get through all the pageantry and all the
how
ceremony.
it goes. Yeah, everyone's got to walk in, and you got to let all the broadcasters go. And now we see Barack Obama coming in, and now we see Senator McConnell coming in. And
the thing that I loved, and this isn't political or anything, but when it comes to this kind of thing, we had Super Bowl coverage a couple of years ago, and I was in the studio making it run, and there would be this analyst team, and it was like the Russian nesting dolls, just of broadcast commentators. Yes. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to get more in depth. Okay. And then that team would say something, we're going to get more in depth. And that was the pregame. They'd go in through all of these different broadcasting teams. And at the end of it, okay, we're going to send you back to this studio. Okay. We're going to send you back to this team. Okay. There were like 5 or 6 of them or something ridiculous.
Never ending, right?
Any event like this, you got to have all the analysis.
You know what I think on a day like today? And again, folks, if you want to call in and chat, 989-752-6111. Our lines are open, 989-752-6111. Today for me is our British Royal Family Day. You know how the big events happen over in London and the news coverage internationally, and they're all there. It kind of has the feel of one of those days today, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. So we have a caller, Jonathan?
We do. We say good morning to Dave in Saginaw. Dave, how we doing?
Well, we're doing all right. I just listened to a fair amount of the conversation you had with your previous guest. And my comment is, I am retired UAW, blue collar. I've never been a diehard Democrat or Republican. Art knows this. I've always voted independent. But I have always resented the fact that the UAW would, prior to most any election, but especially a major election, presidential or congressional, send out literature to our homes telling us, and this goes to part of what you guys were talking about, telling us how to vote with a whole slate of candidates all listed there. And if you're a good UAW retiree, this is what you have to do. And they assumed that everybody was a Democrat. So I would agree that part of the problem is they assume that they have a certain group of people that they can count on for a voting block when something critical comes along. They do not let people think independently, and consequently, they don't reach out to people that think independently.
So, Dave, as I hear what you're saying, the one great part that I love is anyone can send you anything, right? I think all of our mailboxes were inundated from flyers from everyone in the world that was running.
Right.
But the great part is at the end of the day, you get to go into that voting booth by yourself and nobody gets to tell you what to do. And you get to be independent at that moment. But I think your frustration is spot on of, I think people are tired of being told what to do. And people would like a little bit more credit that they'll figure out what to do based on what they feel or what's best for their house. Or if you're a single issue voter, you're going to go in and vote on something at the end of the day that makes you feel better because you're fighting for what you believe in. Did it get worse through the years? Did you start seeing more and more of this? Or has it always been like this where, your union's telling you exactly what you're supposed to do?
Pretty much, it's always been. I had a major disagreement with a young lady that I worked with at the time at Saginaw Steering Gear. Her father was the bargaining chairman of our union at the time. And we had an election coming up, and I happened to be in her area that day, and we started talking politics, which I didn't usually like to do. And she started telling me what her dad and the executive board of the union would like all the membership to do. Now, this is back, I've been out of there since 99, so this is back 30 plus years ago. And we got into a debate. There wasn't a fight because there were other people there, an argument, nothing. It was a debate about my ability to think for myself as opposed to having someone tell me how to think. And she just couldn't tolerate that. She just was adamant that I had to do what a good UAW Democrat would do, even though she knew I had voted for, in the past, as many Republicans as I had Democrats, because I always looked at who could do the job and do it effectively and have the credentials to be able to do it. That's how I voted. So, you know, this issue is pervasive in our society with the people in power trying to tell other people how to think and what to do. Now, I'm retired. I'm 78 years old. I'm on restricted income with Social Security and a pension. So I understand the thing with the eggs and bread and gas and all the rest of that with the economy. I will say, with my income, I am able to do, and I was married, but I've lost my wife in the last year and a half. But we were able to live comfortably without excess. I could go to the grocery store, and if I chose to that day, I could buy a steak. I didn't have to worry about paying for it. Maybe my retirement income is a little better than some others, but it's under $4,000 a month.
Sure.
If that tells you anything.
Yeah, it does. Well, Dave, hey, we appreciate the call. We got to get to break. But again, folks,
Right.
We'll be back. Thanks for that call, Dave.
Hey, it's Bridge with Joe Credit Union. Ready to kick off the new year with a bang? Welcome to our cash back era. With the Jolt Ignite Cashback Visa, you'll earn unlimited 2% cash back on every dollar you spend. 2% back on everything. At Jolt, we believe that every swipe should come with a little hype. Jolt Ignite Cashback Visa. Are you ready for it? Jolt Credit Union, a better way of banking. Terms and conditions may apply. Federally insured by the NCUA.
It happens after every commercial building gets built.
That looks great, boys. Wow, what a change. The owners are going to be thrilled.
Even after cleaning up the garage or shed. That leftover scrap metal can be a burden, but it doesn't have to be, and it can make you some cash. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal is a metal recycling company that'll pay you cash and recycle your metal for the future. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal also makes it easy. We can provide containers for industrial manufacturing facilities and small specialty shops for moving and storing scrap metals. Looking to scrap a vehicle? We got you. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal in Saginaw, just north of the Dow Event Center. Also located in West Branch, 1 mile off I-75 and M76. Schedule a car pickup or check metal prices now at rifkin-co.com. Rifkin Scrap Iron and Metal, recycling today for tomorrow.
Friday, bonus pricing has been extended at Rifkin Steel.
Chicago.
Make me smile.
Decades of hits.
You're the inspiration.
Wednesday, June 25th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Chicago. Tickets start at $63 and are on sale now at the box offices or etix.com. Chicago returns to Soaring Eagle Casino.
25 or 624.
Rock, horns, and hits. SoaringEagleCasino.com.
Taxes was waiting around for your taxes to be done, which led to worrying about not getting any money back. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes in a day to get you up to $4,000 fast with a refund advance loan. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Expert filing only available with TurboTax Live Full Service. Refund advance has $0 loan fees and 0% APR. Refund advance loans may be issued by First Century Bank, N.A. or WebBank. Terms apply, subject to approval.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities. So it puts less stress on our household and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair. Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
From the Stormmaster Exterior Studios, you are listening to 100.5 FM and 790 AM. And from Stormmaster Exteriors, you are listening online at WSGW.com.
Good morning and welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. It's Matt Felan, Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, filling in here for Art today. And we're taking your calls right now, and we have some callers on the line. Jonathan, who do we have with us?
Yes, we've got Dan in Saginaw. Dan, good morning.
Good morning. I was calling in regards to the Detroit Lion game.
Oh, everybody hold on. I'd love to hear this, Dan. How you feeling today?
Well, I didn't take it too bad because I watched the game between Tampa Bay and Washington, and I told my daughter, I says, afterwards, a couple of days later, I said, this is going to be a tough game for Detroit. And I really realized that they got a pretty good team. They got a good quarterback that can move, even though he's young and is a rookie. And he throws the ball pretty well, and he's pretty calm. And the Lions came out that particular night with a game plan that I didn't like. I would just soon have them throw couple of little quick passes, quick. You open up the running game a little bit, which they didn't do this time. They went 3 and out. And another thing is when you got 5 turnovers, 4 by the quarterback and 1 by a receiver trying to throw a pass on a trick play that's down there about 35 or 40 yards, I don't believe that was a good play at the time. Then they had another penalty towards the end of the game where they had 12 men on the team, which cost them a first down.
That was pretty brutal.
They had the only way they could have won that game, they had to have their turnovers really none or 1 and control the ball as much as they could, because this team was scoring at will against their defense, which is highly deflated because of injuries. And their pass rush, they never sacked that quarterback one time the whole night.
There was not much of a pass rush there, Dan. They did not get him rattled. They gave him all the time in the world. It was non-existent. The Hutchinson injury is just humongous. Plus, you had other guys, Lee McNeil, Kaminsky. That D-line was decimated, and we couldn't put any pressure on that kid.
Well, the funny thing about it, too, one of their good backs got hurt in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, so that kind of depleted what they were going to do in their defensive backfield against the system that they're going to run against them. So now they got to readjust, which they don't have the manpower or the talent there to readjust because with all the other previous injuries that reflect the defensive part of the, side of the line. just all those things in general. And every time they went on fourth down, except the first time, they made every fourth down play except the first one.
Yeah, no,
Being the other
Dan,
team.
you are right. You are right. Hey, we have to get a few more callers in, but thanks for the call. I'm feeling your pain today, Dan.
So that's why they lost.
Thank you. Jonathan, who else do we have with us here this morning?
We're going to head over to Roger in Fairhaven Township. Roger, good morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Roger.
Just listening to the morning, Matt. You do a good job filling in for Art. Just thought I'd say that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
What's on your mind here this morning?
Well, you were talking in the first hour about Martin Luther King and remembering him and celebrating his legacy. I have, excuse me, I've driven motor coach for over 20 years, and probably 15 or 16 of those years I've traveled to Washington, D.C. at least 8 to 10 times every year over that period of time. And it's always 8th grade classes that I take to D.C. And of course, one of the places that they go to is to the Martin Luther King Memorial Monument, I guess it's called.
Yes. Yep.
And over the years, I've asked the question of either the tour guide or the students themselves, what is significant about the 4th of April, 1968? And more often than not, I get puzzled looks. And the answer is, of course, that's the date that he was assassinated. It was one day before my 18th birthday.
And that's exactly what we were talking about last hour. As time goes on, this next generation doesn't fully know where this was a major part of you growing up. It means something. And that's you can definitely start to feel it kind of fading away where people don't realize it to the same level.
Yeah.
Do kids get it more when they get back on the bus after you take them there? Do they have a better feeling for what they saw and got to read and hear from their teachers?
Some do, kids being kids. Some pay attention and others, okay, why are we here? That kind of thing.
Sure.
I remember watching the I Have a Dream speech when he was on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 1963. Of course, I was 13 years of age at the time. So I wasn't one of those people that was willing to go and be involved necessarily, but supported what he and others were trying to achieve.
You've certainly got an interesting perspective then, because now you were 13 seeing the I Have a Dream speech, and now you're taking 13, 14-year-olds to see the memorial.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, if you've ever been there to the Lincoln Memorial, it's marked where he was standing along with other speakers that were presented that day. It's pretty moving, really.
Yeah. An important
right
day.
now, I have a son and daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren who are attending the inauguration. Trying to stay warm in DC right now.
I bet they are. Well, hey, thank you for the call. We got to get to one more commercial, but folks, we'll be back after these messages.
I'm attorney Jerry Reif, and I have practiced elder law, estate planning, asset and business protection planning in Michigan for over 3 decades. As a veteran, I've also helped veterans and their spouses benefit from special VA programs. Many of you have attended my monthly workshops where you have learned the rules, what solutions work, and had your questions answered, such as, can I protect my stuff from the government and long-term care costs? What is the difference between revocable and irrevocable trusts? How can I avoid probate? And do I need to? Should I give my stuff to the kids or others? Know the rules and what solutions work. Get answers to your questions.
If your planning is more than 5 years old, you may have missed some great opportunities. Call 989-790-1461 to attend attorney Jerry Reif's free workshop, How to Protect Your Stuff. This workshop is on Thursday, January 23rd at 2 o'clock in Saginaw at the Capolco Community Credit Union. Call 989-790-1461 today or register online at jerryreiflawyer.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-635-3311. That's 1-800-635-3311.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers,
we've been overindulging a little more than usual over the holidays. But now we are starting the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day.
Active Liver contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract, all natural ingredients that help protect the liver so that it can protect you from toxins. It's like giving my body a daily detox. I've never felt better, and my energy is through the roof.
And my doctor is already impressed with how much better my numbers are looking. So if better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief.
Active Liver is available in both tablets and as a delicious gummy. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Good morning and welcome back to the Art Lewis Show. The Art Lewis Show is presented by Westside Decorating Center. Visit them at 5789 State Street in Saginaw or online at westsidedecoratingcenter.com. So this is Matt Felan with the Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, filling in for Art here on MLK Day, Inauguration Day, Detroit Lions Morning Day, College National Championship Day. There's a lot of days today. And finishing this hour with some calls. And Jonathan, I think we have Gus from Midland with us, right?
We do. Gus, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Gus. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind this morning?
Just gonna heckle you a little bit on them Lions. They come out a little flat, didn't they?
You know, I was upset the very first play of the game. We come out, and there's David Montgomery in the backfield. Now, I love David Montgomery, but the guy hasn't played in a month. His knee's hurt. The best player offensively in the league is Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's sitting on the sidelines. And I thought to myself, what are we doing?
Right. Yeah. It didn't seem like they went to their strength. There was a caller earlier that said, there was no short over the center passes. Just looks like they had a whole different game plan for some reason. And I think that's kind of what bit them is they went away from what they were doing successfully in the past.
So it's funny. Everyone grows up differently, right? If you grew up where your dad hunts, you hunt, right? I grew up where my dad loved football. So we've been around football all the time. My dad used to have this belief that sometimes when it got to big games, coaches wanted to show how smart they are when all they needed to do was run the ball up the middle. And it certainly felt like these guys were actually outsmarting themselves a little too much. just hand the doggone ball to Jahmyr Gibbs. It was a real easy game plan. And instead, we got Jamison Williams throwing his first ever pass in college or professional football. I'm with you. The game plan just didn't seem right. It seemed off for guys who had performed so well all year coaching. Are you frustrated today?
I'm sorry,
I don't know if you heard me. I asked, are you frustrated today? Are you a frustrated fan today?
A little bit, but I think I could see it coming, with the injuries, right? And the game plan. I was frustrated then because of the game plan. It just didn't seem like they were the Lions that we watched all year and last year.
No,
on either the good side or the bad side, we might not lose our two coordinators over that game.
I think you're right. If that was their audition, it definitely didn't go well. Gus, I'll leave it at this, and thank you for the call here, is that, sometimes you get done with the year and you're like, this was our shot. The window's closed. This was our one opportunity. I think what I like at least about the Lions right now is this is not their one opportunity. Still a very young team, some of the most elite talent. I will tell you, I would follow Dan Campbell anywhere. I think the future's still bright, but he said it best last year. He was so upset when we lost that big lead to San Francisco because you just don't know when you're going to be back. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of luck to get back into those spots. So we will definitely see.
Absolutely. What do you think this does for the Lions' underdog mentality that's been going on for years and years and years?
No more underdog.
No more.
Now
It's gone.
Now you were at the top of the hill. You were the Kings, and once you got there, you choked. That's a tough spot to be in. Now you got to come back, but now they're going to be the hunted and not the prey. So the Lions are going to have to watch themselves. Everybody's coming. So, folks, we're going to go back to commercial, but we'll be back here after these messages.
Are you interested in building a legacy? The Legacy Center for Community Success in Midland has a rewarding adventure ready for you. Are you a retired educator or a community member open to volunteering? Then why not start a new adventure as a tutor in the new year?
Like, she's obviously proud of herself. It brings a lot of pride to me, and I'm very grateful that I get to participate in that.
Visit TLC4cs.org to learn more.
For 20 years, New Finish has been your trusted partner in restoring the beauty and durability of your home. From worn-out tubs to dated cabinets, ugly countertops, and more, New Finish will bring them back to life with expert refinishing services. Remodel without the hefty price tag of a full replacement. Don't replace it. New Finish it. Call us today at 989-525-6479. That's 989-525-6479. Or online at newfinishonline.com to get started. Don't replace it. New Finish it.
Welcome to retirement. Now, replace your paycheck. To local financial coach Kevin Ray, this is what retirement planning is all about.
Building monthly paychecks. And how you build those monthly paychecks is going to determine how well in retirement you're going to enjoy it. So sit down and build a good framework, and it starts with income.
So build your framework with Kevin and the team at Insight Folios today by calling 888-885-PLAN. That's 888-885-7526.
RocketGrabPlus.com. This week's exclusive offer on RocketGrabPlus.com is brought to you by Applied Training Solutions located in the Midlands.